Hi guys, this is Caleb Heilman with Heilman's Performance, back to do another Whiteboard Wednesday today. Opening up our basketball skill sessions here this week. It seems only fit that we talk a little bit about skill acquisition. So a little bit about the old model of skill acquisition. Anders Ericsson came out with the term deliberate practice, which is basically deep focus while practicing a desired skill. And then Malcolm Gladwell kind of jumped on board with the 10,000 hours concept of basically it takes 10,000 hours of deliberate practice for an individual to acquire a level of mastery. So we kind of allowed these two ideas to develop our old model of skill acquisition, which was basically demonstrate a skill that was desired, give some external cues, and then practice a lot. And we thought that if we just did that, it would equal a level of mastery and skill. And what it's really come down to now is that it's just kind of created this sports specialization with kids. They think they need to be practicing one thing all the time. And really a lot of times it becomes an issue down the road, and mastery really isn't always ever reached. So this idea was kind of debunked and highly criticized by a couple researchers, Tucker and Collins in 2012 and Gobet and Campitelli in 2007, that both looked back on some of the data that Anders Ericsson used in his deliberate practice model, and found that a number of the chess masters that they had studied who actually achieved mastery had achieved mastery between the hours of 3,000 and 23,000 hours of deliberate practice, which is a pretty large gap as far as that's concerned. Gobet and Campitelli in another research study found that violinists achieve mastery anywhere between the hours of 728 hours of deliberate practice and 16,000 hours of deliberate practice. So another massive gap that kind of lays the 10,000 hour rule to rest. In the new model of skill acquisition, we're looking more at how a level of mastery can be attained in the most efficient way possible. So basically we're trying to figure out what these people did in the 3,000 hour group and the 728 hour group. Chow et al., a group that wrote the book Nonlinear Pedagogy and Skill Acquisition, offer a large number of constraints that we can apply in skill acquisition to help athletes and kids acquire any task that's desirable. So they say that these four things are the things that we should be manipulating in order to acquire skill. The first one being a task, and I put some examples here. So you might think of a task constraint as maybe asking an athlete to dribble a basketball with their non-dominant hand only. Or asking them to perform ball handling drills with their eyes closed. You can manipulate the equipment. So manipulating the equipment, you might vary the ball sizes and weights, using smaller balls for ball handling drills, using heavier balls and lighter balls for shooting drills. You can vary bat and racket sizes if you're a baseball or tennis player. Ask them to use a smaller racket, bigger racket, heavier racket, lighter racket. You can manipulate rules. So one of the common ones, like in basketball, is something you might see in a team setting, the no dribbling drill, where a coach is trying to get the team to move the ball up in transition a little bit quicker. It doesn't allow them to dribble. They can only move the ball by passing. You could shorten the shot clock if you were looking to get your team to play a little bit faster in transition. Would be a couple examples of manipulating rules. You can constrain the environment. So a couple examples that I put up there are like playing 3-on-3 in a smaller area, gets the ball in the hands of individuals more often and forces them to play smaller angles and that kind of thing. Futsal is another very good example of that. Is a version of soccer played with a smaller, heavier ball on a much smaller field. Again, allows individuals to get control of the ball a lot more often and forces kind of tighter geometric angles and that kind of thing in sport. So the common vernacular that's being used to encompass all of these things now is chaos. And the idea is, as coaches, we just need to create the right amount of chaos for our athletes. And what we know now is that if we can put them into those enriched environments and challenge them, the brain is plastic enough to reorganize all that information and kind of explore and figure things out for themselves. And ideally, that's the best way to allow them to acquire new skills and then use those skills and take them into competition. So that is kind of an overview of where we've moved from the old model to the new model in skill acquisition in all arenas. As always, thank you for watching.